Pisces, to your end month reading for January. I hope you friends are doing great out there. If your friends like this, please like and subscribe. This message is coming out. Let's see. Message, please. Okay, we do have the Justice, Fairness, and Truth. I've got the Justice card coming out. Everything looks like it's going to be very balanced within this situation. Ooh, really getting into that law and attraction over here. I'm seeing a lot of this, though. So let's see what's going on. Different desires, a lot of justice, a lot of perception, views, changing, truths, all these things coming out. It's like with the daydreaming, you are like searching for these purposes. You're going to be opening these doors, these ideas. Remember that some of the doors that are opening are not always the greatest. Now, we always say that, what comes to you is for you, but it's also for learning as well. So be careful where you want to, just because you have a beautiful looking cup doesn't mean there's not snakes underneath the whipped cream, right? So definitely got to be careful of that. And those, of course, would be those learning lessons, those opportunities to learn, to grow. But do you always need such things? I guess you would if you decided to take such things, right? Without thinking about the situations. Everybody's story is different. I know I've gone through some of those things myself where it was like, but I really didn't need that. Why didn't I think about that earlier? Why did I allow that to continue to keep going on? I should have just listened to my intuition and went away the other direction, right? But yeah, over here we have a tower, we have a snake, we have a wolf, or a fox, conniving energy. So, but then you have this beautiful horseshoe, and you have, you know what I'm saying? So there's like some doors that are going to be very, very good for you, but there's always, where there's negative, there's positive. Right, so it's it's always about finding the best cup over here. So just remember, there's going to be a lot of doors opening for you, but some are not going to be the greatest doors. So yes, some are just not good, right? They're going to bring harsh lessons that it's not always 100% necessary. So really pay attention, right? Because if you know that it feels misleading, there's your lesson. Then you knew it felt misleading. You should have walked the other way, right? There's going to be things that feel a temptation, right? But maybe it could. Oh man. Okay, and the next card coming out is personal goals. Could be something, though, too, that has to do with releasing those limiting beliefs when it comes to your personal goals and using just that wishful thinking, right? And not trying to restrict anything or, thinking that, maybe this can only happen this way, that can only happen that way, right? You really want to keep yourself justified when it comes to the law and attraction of what it is you're trying to do when it comes to manifesting, trying to attain these goals, right? Maybe you're setting your standards to the point where it's not that the standards are too high, it's just they're restricted. I understand you have to go from point A to point C, but maybe you're adding too much to it. Right, well, I won't be able to do this until I do this, till I do this, till I do this. And it's like, okay, well, that's not giving room, though, for the universe to say, well, what about the impossible, right? Because there's certain things I can do that are, that are standing in this area of impossible, but you're not allowing yourself to have that, right? To have that overall wishful thinking of the situation, right? So you need to, right, because it's saying there could be a little bit of distrust when it comes to that situation. Could even be somebody around you, right, that is causing this, right? Maybe they're using too many chains, too much negativity towards something you're looking for, right? And it's causing this kind of broken communication about how we can move, how we can do things, right? And so it's saying, go ahead and use your intuition, right? Go ahead and understand that there are mysteries and hidden things within the universe. See, she doesn't have anything over her head, so therefore it's got limitless potentials for other things to happen. Maybe the person you're dealing with doesn't see it that way, or maybe you're not seeing it that way, or, both, maybe because they're adding all these restrictions and adding all these things, that it's not allowing you to, see it for the bigger picture, right? So it's asking you to open up and trust your own intuition, trust in the divine, trust in knowing that everything's going to, become clear to the situation. You don't have to have all of this, right? There doesn't have to be all these chains and all this stuff going on. When it comes to the strength, you might even have somebody around you that's resenting the situation. Maybe you feel they're in resentment with you, right? Or resenting what it is you're trying to achieve over here. Maybe you feel like they have lack of planning, or maybe they feel like, well, you didn't give it enough restrictions. So there's lack of planning on your side. And you're saying, because we don't need all of that. The Spirit is saying that's the truth, though. You don't need to overly play it safe and have all these restrictions. Right? It doesn't have to be that way when it comes to this certain situation. Okay? It doesn't have to be like that. So why are you holding back in this situation? So Spirit says there's no holding back in this situation, or don't allow this person to hold you back from this situation. Yeah, playing it small, playing it safe, playing it small, right? You're not seeing the overall bigger picture. Lack of planning. So they want you to not feel like you're stuck in the past or looking at past things. And they also don't want you to look at all these obstacles that feel like they're standing in your way when they don't need to be. It's almost like you're kind of throwing things in the way to restrict the situation, trying to keep chains on it. So it says it could be even your own protection mode, right? Trying to take too much control over a situation that doesn't need that much control. Or you may feel like you're dealing with an emperor who's putting on too much, doing so. Let's just put it that way. Yet where's the structure? Where's the stability? So it feels like, hey, we could do things this way and it'd make a huge change. But it's going to be, towards what you're focused on. Right? So let's see what's going on over here. Everybody's story is going to be a little bit different, right? When it comes to how it's all, coming together. Yeah, because it does feel like you have some kind of offer that's coming towards you that's going to kind of change the situation around. Now, it's whether or not you're going to stop playing it safe and go after the situation, or you're going to continue to have these restrictions, right? And limiting beliefs about how things have to work. Because it's saying that, are you going to accept this? Right, because the Two of Cups is literally sitting behind you. And it is what you want, though, when it comes, right, to the Seven of Cups. Now, maybe there was a lot of snakes in your cups. So maybe you're saying, you know what, I have to do it this way, and that way only. But Spirit is saying you don't need that. That just causes setbacks. It's not the way it needs to be done. Not in this scenario. This situation is not like that one. Yeah, it's like you're living in the past. You're not allowing that one situation to balance itself out. Right? The truth and clarity of this one is different from what happened before. What happened before was different. Okay? You might have felt like there was a lot of selfishness and a lot of jealousy, or a lot of setbacks and a lot of narrow-mindedness going on, a lot of gossip, depending on what your situation is. You might even felt like you lost a lot of self-respect within that situation, and people might have, or this person may have kind of trampled on you, right? So maybe you're saying, no, I don't know about this situation. Yeah, there's that gossip again, too. So taking that time alone, you're saying, I don't know. And you might even feel like there's too many people involved in the investment or the situation. And you're like, nope, I don't want to do that. I'm breaking free. I don't want that. But Spirit's saying, well, it's kind of different, though. This is a different scenario. And if this is a love offer, guys, Spirit is literally saying, do not, and the reason I'm saying that is I have the Two of Cups, the Knight of Cups, third party situations. So if you feel like, I don't know, because I was cheating on before and I'm just not sure if I want to play that game. But it does sound, some of you are single and you're actually trying to manifest love, but then when it comes to you, you're kind of hesitant to jump at the situation. You're holding on to all this resentment from this other person, this last situation, living in the past, putting someone else in someone else's shoes. So therefore that narrow-mindedness is actually kind of coming from yourself, because you're holding on to, ooh, these past wounds. But yet it feels like, but I really want this. Either that or you're dealing with someone who's doing that. It could be vice versa. So for the cross watchers to say, nope, they're doing that. But there is a lot of self-sufficiency over here. So you say, but I've been pretty self-sufficient since that situation. Some of you might even be a divorce. Have the divorce card out. Justice can be a divorce card. So it could be like literally like, but I want to date after a divorce, but I keep feeling this feeling of the way that they used to make me feel. You know, I'm pretty self-sufficient now. I don't need anybody, but I would like love. I think that you're afraid of the chains from the devil. I don't need their codependency. I don't need this. I don't need that. And so all these things are kind of working up in your mind or their mind when it comes to the situation. Whatever that situation is, like I said, it could really be a lot for you. You could be dating. I have a lot of dating cards. So I do feel like for some of you, definitely a dating situation, right? Or it could be them coming back around where they hurt your heart, and Spirit's like, give them a second chance. It's not the same, but I don't really feel like it's an ex, though. It feels like a situation that you have dealt with in the past, where this other person is coming in, because I do have new love coming in. So I do feel like it's new love, but I feel like you're kind of holding on to the past over here on how the last love relationship went. And so now you're kind of like lacking in direction, lacking a decision about this situation and how this is going to go down. For others of you, it could be a job opportunity, an investment situation. Maybe you invested in 401ks or something, or Wall Street, and maybe you lost your buns, right, in Wall Street. And they're like, but come on, we have to go get more stocks. And you're like, ooh, I don't know. I lost a lot of money in stocks. So it's something's going on, right? But it just feels like there is a lot of restrictions over there, and you're really trying to put a lot of restrictions on this situation. I see, like I said, love all over this situation more than anything, which really wouldn't surprise me if the majority of it was love, because a lot of people, they get hurt, and there are a lot of boundaries. And a lot of times they want to put over restrictions to a situation, play it overly safe. But like I said, a lot of you try to manifest this, like you wanted this, but then when it comes to you, you're like, I don't know. Right? And so it's like the past comes back, and it's kind of like, well, you remember when, right? But you can't do that, though. You can't put, Harry, you can't put Harry into Steve's shoes. You can't put Mary into Susan's shoes. That's really what this is about. Spirit is saying you can't do that, Yeah, because it feels like you were drowning, but you're kind of drowning yourself now. And with repressed feelings and emotions. Guys, some of you just need healing, not relationships. Or someone who really wants to come in to heal you. Right? Somebody you can get close to who can heal you. Because a lot of you, it says you're stuck in the past. And returning back to trying to date, trying to do these things is actually kind of messing with your emotions. It's not making you feel like you're traveling safely. It makes you kind of feel like you're, right? That's not returning to travel safely, right? That's drowning, right? Feeling uneasy, holding yourself too tight, not opening up, afraid to open up. Protection, overprotective mode. Not allowing the Emperor to show his value, to show you, what he's made of over here. Yeah. Impulsiveness. Yeah, still holding on to like what's an achievable. Maybe you're even giving them unachievable expectations. Careful. Careful, careful, careful. So now you're telling the Emperor, or they're telling you, okay, well, because of the karmic lesson that I learned with my ex. Okay. I have these things that I want you to do because I'm at a safe haven right now, but I expect you to do this, and that, and this, and treat me this way, this. But you're making it so over unachievable, the person can't even be the person. So it's almost like you're building a robot. Okay, but don't you ever bring me white flowers, because Steve always brought me white flowers, and I can't handle when Steve brings me white flowers, because that's just gonna like, okay. Okay, that's fine. You'll say, I'll bring you pink flowers. Is that okay? Is that fine? Purple? I mean, what color would you like? But it's almost like to the point where it's almost like you're so skeptical and using so much skepticism that you're, like I said, you're giving them things that they may never be able to reach these goals. That's for some of you, not all of you, but I'm telling you, some of you are giving them unachievable expectations. Like they won't be able to do it. Oh my God, you can't wear those shoes. You want to wear shoes that are Vans, but they can't be like that. Because that's what Steve used to wear. Fucking what? Dude, they're plaid Vans. They're checkered Vans. That's what everybody wears. Those old school black and white checker Vans. Everybody has a pair. Right? Probably not today, but you get the point I'm making. This was the 80s. We definitely all owned a pair. I'm sorry, you have to go get the red ones. But you see what I'm saying? Like some of you are giving them things that are almost to the point where they feel like it's like so impulsive that it's trying to change kind of who they are. You can't wear a leather jacket because they did that. You can't wear your hair like that because they did that. Oh my God, don't do that. You see? But it's like, but then who are they? Because they had those things before you even came around. Right? Yeah, it's going to give them 10 of swords. That's just not, it's very uncomfortable. So it makes them actually, because you're repressing emotions and then you're going to explode them out at them, that they could actually start repressing emotions towards you, because now you're kind of causing them inner confusion, and a little bit of, for some of them might even be insecurities. Men, you might even be giving the women a little insecurities about the situation because she doesn't know what dress to wear, what this, that, don't wear your hair in pigtails. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, it's almost to the point where it's causing inner confusion, or like I said, they're doing this to you. Because now you don't know where you're supposed to stand. It's going to be like walking on broken glass. Right? Because I don't know where I'm supposed to be. And eternally, it'll make the relationship collapse. You're going to take their cup away because they don't know what to do. Right? So it kind of feels like that's where it's moving to. And the same with, if it's some kind of investment, it's like the person's like, okay, well, you know what? Then we can't put out what we usually put out. We'll have to focus on something else to do. Right? Yeah, we can't do that because we lost our butt and that. We can't do that. Right? Either that, or if we're going to do that, then it has to be A, B, C, D, E, F, G. When it's literally only A, B, and C, like you just added so much stuff to this situation that it's like, why the restrictions? And Spirit says, there's no reason for all this restrictions. It literally is a glorious moment that just feels like you're so overprotected, right? You're just so overprotected. You're overly grounding yourself, right? And it could show that you have panics. It could show the panic. It could show the slowdowns. It could show the frustration, right? And then by adding the extra restrictions to the situation, I mean, even having unachievable expectations of someone is adding restrictions. You're adding restrictions to them, to all the situations. So whatever the situation is. So, and that's just out of fear of it not working. Yeah. Out of fear of it not doing what it's supposed to be doing. Out of fear of whatever the destruction was before. So you're having, but you have to have this self-awareness of, wait, hold on a second. You're right. I don't need to do this. And are you punishing yourself, my friends, or are you punishing them? Because remember, if you're doing this to another person, or if they're doing this to you, it's almost like you're self-imposing in punishment to yourself and to them, right? And that's just because it feels like I'm weighed down. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm not sure how this is going to go. But it is kind of crazy because it does show that you do have this curiosity for this situation. You want the information. You want the news. You want the messages. You want, you want them around. You want all this stuff. It's just almost like your emotions are getting in the way, though. And it's kind of like panic attack, which ends up slowing down the process. Just be careful, though, because it could cause them lack of motivation towards you. It could cause lack of passion towards you, or they could do that to you, right? I mean, think about it. If they keep telling you, you can't do this, can't do that, you're going to get bored with them. Card of boredom, card of lack of passion. Well, I was curious. I was wanting to know all this stuff. So whether that's you or them, just take it how it is. You'll know, right? And it's all just because of self-trust, disconnection, and despair. And not trusting in Spirit says, I need you to trust in this situation to get the wheel moving. I need you to get this wheel moving. But you keep digging karmic trenches within this situation of not being able to make new negotiations with yourself. Heal. Understand. See it from a different perspective. Balance yourself. See things from a different area. See things as different. It doesn't always have to be the same. And for a lot of you, be careful. You're manifesting the same thing over and over again with investments when Spirit says this doesn't have to be that way. Resistance to change, fearing the change. Why are you fearing the change? You're feeling the change because of the personal transformation of the things that were going stagnant and going wrong. So you've got yourself into this mode, and mind you, like I said, it could be the other way around with whoever you're dealing with. Okay, it could be that they're resisting this change because of the fear of it all happening again. But if we don't get ourselves away from those chains and stop living in the past, we're not going to be able to know what's in our future, because you're going to always be sitting in the past going, oh my God, it's going to be the same. Or oh, what if it turns out the same? Like, it's almost like you're like, I really want love and everything's going to go great. Oh my God, they're coming toward me. But then as soon as you have all of this happening and they're coming towards you, all of a sudden, here it comes. Oh, what if they don't see me right? What if this happens? What if they treat me like that? What, oh my God. Your mind goes crazy. You know, what if all of a sudden the investment goes really, really good and then all of a sudden it's really, really high, and then if I don't pull out fast enough, boom, I lose all my money again. That's a lot of swords to give to one person. But the Three of Swords really sucks, because not only are you going to feel this emotion, you're going to throw it out there for everybody else to see too. To see, to feel. So it's not just a one-sided thing. You're literally giving it to everybody else around you. And it's, you know, they're going to say, but you're not balanced, and you're being a little unfair about the situation because these things don't have to happen again. Why are you making things on the edge? Why are you overwhelming everybody? Why are you overwhelming yourself? Why don't you give me a try? Why don't you try this one? So Spirit says it's time now. You guys got this. You got to get out there. Take this risk. The time is now, right? The time is always. It's time to move in the direction. Put the past behind you and free yourself and fly like an eagle. Right? Very beautiful. Very, very beautiful. We all do get stuck in these ruts. We get stuck. And say, oh my God, well, I don't know if I want to do that again. That was a lot. Take time to tune into your body and recognize the messages it's trying to send you. Try to avoid harmful influences. And do something to improve yourself. Any improvement you make will benefit all of humanity and everyone around you. Work daily towards improving your mental health. Get out of those, I can't do this, I can do that, I don't know, blah, blah, right? Chaos, confusion. Use your mind to keep yourself calm and keep your emotions calm, and practice speaking positively about other people and events, and especially about your future. Acknowledge that the time is now. There it is, right? There it is. I grabbed a lot because I thought it was necessary. Take responsibility for every thought and feeling. It can affect the whole universe. Okay. And that was it, my friends. Until next time, peace and love. Bye-bye.